While everyone's talking about those massive AAA titles, there's a group of developers working magic with far fewer resources and a lot more creativity. It's in the space between indie and blockbuster that games with soul, boldness, and truly surprising ideas emerge. These are projects that don't need multi-million-dollar campaigns to deliver something memorable. They just need a chance. So get ready, because today we're diving into 21 AA games that are simply better than many of the hyped-up releases out there. And if you haven't played them yet, you might just find your new favorite. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel. If you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd really appreciate it. From one gamer to another. Starting off our list, the investigation takes on a bitter taste, almost like someone ripped out the pages of a diary and let the memories spill out. The last case of Benedict Fox puts you in control of a detective who connects to the unconscious minds of the dead to solve a case that's more complex than expected. What was meant to be a simple mission turns into a slow descent through mental corridors filled with pain, strange symbols, and living nightmares. Each new place feels like an open wound waiting to be touched, and the deeper you go, the more you realize the truth comes at a high cost. The gameplay blends platforming, exploration, and puzzles that play with logic and sensations. Nothing is explained with arrows or tutorials. You have to look, think, fail, and try again. Combat is more tense than quick, demanding time and attention with every move. The real twist happens when you enter the so-called limbo, a distorted dimension where everything seems to dream wrong. The architecture contorts, the sounds weigh heavy, and even the floor seems to doubt you. Everything is presented with an artistic style that's absurdly beautiful and uncomfortable at the same time. The colors feel faded by sadness, and the environments are full of details that tell stories without words. The soundtrack feels like it's spying on you, always there during the strangest moments. It's not a game that shouts. It whispers in your ear and waits for you to understand. Moving on to the next one. The setting changes completely. Now everything's neon, concrete, and digital smoke. A future where death is a luxury item and immortality is a matter of contract. Everything looks shiny on the outside, but inside, the city reeks of corporate rot and morally bankrupt choices. And it's precisely in this decay that you play the role of someone seeking the truth. But in this concrete jungle, every clue has a price, and almost no one's willing to pay. The gameplay revolves around high-tech investigations, but it doesn't make your life easy. You use scanners, UV light, digital crime scene reconstruction, and even X-ray vision to piece together a story that's much dirtier than it first seemed. It's not just about looking. It's about interpreting, connecting, and doubting. And with every decision, the game shifts direction without warning. No step is neutral when everyone has something to hide. The visuals mix the charm of old-school noir with the exaggerated dystopia of a defeated future. Everything looks too beautiful to be trusted, from the glow of the streets to the silence of hidden corridors. The music is melancholic, subtle, the kind that sticks with you like a shadow on your heel. It's a game that doesn't rush, but slowly tightens its grip on your chest. And the more you progress, the more you realize that knowing too much might be the worst part. Now we enter a world where humanity hangs by a thread and salvation is hidden in broken, strange, and dangerous worlds. Remnant 2 begins with the collapse of what remains of civilization, and your mission is to traverse realities that seem like fragments of an unresolved apocalypse. Nothing is simple. Each universe has its own logic, creatures, and myths, as if you're falling into a different nightmare each time you open a new door. All of this while trying to understand what's behind this interdimensional chaos. The plot is dense, full of scattered pieces, but it pulls you in because every answer raises more questions. Combat is direct, tense, and brutal, unforgiving of mistakes. You create your class by choosing archetypes that define your fighting style, and you can even combine two to make something uniquely yours. This changes everything: how you face enemies, how you explore, how you survive. Exploration is never linear, filled with twists, random events, and decisions that make you stop and think. The game doesn't hold your hand. It throws you into danger and hopes you learn fast. The setting is incredibly creative. Every world feels like it was ripped out of a strange dream, mixing dark fantasy with decaying sci-fi. The environments not only impress, but also tell their own stories through their visuals. The music fits perfectly. increasing the tension when everything goes eerily silent. It's a game that leaves you uneasy, always expecting the worst. And deep down, that's what makes you not want to leave. Moving on to the next game. The journey now takes you through a devastated land, where hope has been replaced by blood and steel. In Infernax, you play as a knight returning home only to find everything consumed by a dark curse. The mission is clear: eliminate the demons ravaging the land and restore peace. But every decision along the way could drastically change the fate of the world and its inhabitants. It's a story of redemption, sacrifice, and moral choices that weigh heavier than the armor itself. The gameplay is an intense blend of action and exploration, where each defeated enemy and each secret discovered contributes to your character's growth. You'll face castles full of traps, grotesque creatures, and bosses that demand strategy and precision. The abilities you gain over your journey allow you to access new areas and face even greater challenges. The morality system directly influences the plot, offering multiple paths and endings. Every choice has consequences, making each playthrough unique and unpredictable. The retro aesthetic, inspired by 80s classics, is complemented by an engaging soundtrack that heightens the game's dark atmosphere. The pixel art graphics are detailed, bringing life to a decaying world full of dangers. The environment is rich, with villages, forests, and dungeons that tell their own stories. As you explore each new area, the sense of immersion grows, making you feel like part of that corrupted universe. It's a brutal and captivating adventure that challenges both your skill and your conscience. Let's talk about a game that turns every death into a new beginning. In Dead Cells, you wake up as a mass of conscious cells that take control of decapitated bodies, try to escape a cursed island. Every attempt is different, with constantly changing paths and enemies, keeping the tension and curiosity always high. The story is subtle, told through fragments and clues scattered throughout, encouraging exploration and attention to detail. It's a cycle of trial and error that challenges and rewards you equally. The gameplay is fast and precise, with combat that requires sharp reflexes and well-thought-out strategies. You find a variety of weapons and abilities, each with its own advantages, allowing for different playstyles. Progression is based on cells collected from enemies, used to unlock permanent upgrades that make future runs easier. Every death is an opportunity to learn and grow stronger, making failure part of the path to success. The pixel art style is detailed and vibrant, bringing to life environments ranging from dark dungeons to towering fortresses. The soundtrack perfectly matches the pace of the game, intensifying the action and suspenseful moments. The combination of classic elements with modern mechanics creates a unique and engaging experience. It's a game that challenges, surprises, and keeps you coming back for more, always with something new to discover. Next, we're heading to a 1960s Britain devastated by a nuclear disaster. In Atomfall, you wake up with no memory in an isolated bunker, in the middle of a quarantine zone where time seems to have stopped. The world outside is a mix of ruins, strange cults, and paranoid soldiers, all fighting to control what's left. Your mission? Uncover what really happened and decide who to trust. Every choice can either bring you closer to the truth or plunge you further into chaos. The gameplay combines first-person exploration with survival and investigative elements. You collect resources, interact with quirky characters, and face threats ranging from hostile soldiers to deformed creatures. A clue system replaces traditional quests, encouraging curiosity and attention to detail. The decisions you make directly affect the story's direction, offering multiple paths and possible endings. Every step is a choice that shapes the fate of the protagonist and the world around them. The setting is a dark, distorted representation of the British countryside, with abandoned villages, dense forests, and decaying military facilities. The atmosphere is charged with tension, reinforced by a haunting soundtrack and sound effects that enhance immersion. The retro-futuristic aesthetic adds a unique charm, contrasting with the oppressive environment. It's an intense journey through a world where hope is scarce, and the truth lies buried under layers of lies and radiation. Now it's time to trade heavy weapons for sharp blades and millimetric precision, because what's next is pure adrenaline. Katana ZERO throws you straight into a world where every second counts, and any slip-up could be your last. You play as an assassin who receives cryptic orders, But the real mission is trying to figure out what's happening with your own mind. Nothing is trustworthy, not the dialogues, not the flashbacks, not even your own thoughts. The narrative unfolds in fragments, and each piece seems to hide an uncomfortable truth. Combat is a perfect mix of agility, strategy, and instinct. Each level is a fast-paced puzzle where time slows down, letting you decide how to take out everything in seconds. Died? You're back in an instant, trying a different approach. And that's where the game hooks you, forcing you to think and react coldly without losing your style. You can deflect projectiles with your sword, use objects from the environment, and set up almost choreographed attack sequences. Everything is fast, but nothing is free. The aesthetic is a spectacle of its own, full of vibrant lights and heavy shadows that create a dense, hypnotic atmosphere. The soundtrack accompanies every move with beats that stick in your head, making your heart race. Even in pauses, the sound and silence work together to maintain tension in the air. It's a game that mixes brutal action with psychological layers, never losing its rhythm. And just when you think you understand everything, it changes the rules again. After all the neon and precision, the next stop is raw, heavy, and made of flesh, iron, and regret. Blasphemous II throws you into a world where faith has become punishment, and every sculpture seems to scream for help. You wake up surrounded by pain and twisted sacred symbols, with a mission to prevent a new cycle of suffering from taking form. But no one explains anything clearly. The game demands you piece the story together through details, images, and enigmatic encounters. And the more you understand, the more disturbing everything becomes. Combat remains at the heart of the game, but now with more options, more weight, and more brutality. Every weapon you choose changes how you face enemies and opens different paths on the map. The difficulty isn't just in the bosses, it's in the choices, the hidden routes, and the secrets that stubbornly stay out of reach. You feel that everything has meaning, even if no one says it out loud. The game trusts that you'll pay attention and rewards you for it. The aesthetic is heavy, suffocating, and beautiful in an uncomfortable way. The art feels like a mix of sacred painting and Baroque nightmare, meant to both disturb and fascinate at the same time. The music and effects create an atmosphere that traps you, whether through oppressive silence or chants that sound like pleas for forgiveness. It's the kind of game you play tense, alert, feeling the weight of every step. Because in this world, even the sacred bleeds. In the middle of so many apocalyptic games, one emerges that turns art into a sentence and brushstrokes into destiny. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 presents a world ruled by an entity capable of erasing people with a number. When your name enters the list, the end isn't a choice, it's a certainty. It's up to an unlikely group to climb this ladder of condemnation and try to break the cycle. The setting is cruel, poetic, and full of questions no one wants to answer. The combat follows a turn-based format, but with a pace that doesn't let you relax. Every move requires attention, especially during moments when you can parry attacks or dodge at the exact time. It's not about pure reflex, it's about knowing the right moment to act. You build your team with unique characters and complementary skills, seeking the perfect synergy to face the challenges. Every battle is a test of planning, precision, and nerves in the right place. The world around this mission is strangely beautiful, as if every scene had been ripped from an old painting. The atmosphere blends the grandiose with the decayed, like an opera on the verge of collapsing. The music carries the weight of this journey with elegance and melancholy. Everything moves at its own pace, as if the game is telling its story in its own way. And with every step, the doubt grows: how far are you willing to go to change the inevitable? After so much drama and depth, it's time for something more direct: combat, speed, and a skeleton thirsting for revenge. In Skul the Hero Slayer, you control the last soldier of the demon army, trying to rescue your king after a devastating attack by humans. The story is simple but effective, serving as the backdrop for intense gameplay, full of variety. Each new attempt is a chance to go further, unlock abilities, and uncover hidden secrets. The narrative is revealed gradually between battles and unexpected encounters. The gameplay is the standout here. As a 2D action roguelite, each run is unique, with randomly generated maps and varied enemies. The twist lies in the skulls you collect by equipping them. Skul gains new abilities and combat styles, allowing for strategic and dynamic combinations. You can switch between two skulls during battle, quickly adapting to the situation. It's a system that encourages experimentation and keeps the game captivating each time. The pixel art visuals are detailed and vibrant, with fluid animations that make each strike satisfying. The soundtrack matches the fast-paced rhythm of the fights, enhancing immersion. The bosses are challenging and require mastery of the mechanics to be defeated. There's also a variety of items and upgrades that can be acquired throughout the game, offering even more depth. It's an experience that combines frantic action with strategic elements, guaranteeing hours of fun. Some stories don't need dragons or spaceships, just rats to keep us glued to the screen. A Plague Tale Requiem takes you straight into a brutal world, where the survival of two siblings is tested at every step. The journey is emotional and intense, marked by tough choices and bonds that strengthen in desperation. The setting is a devastated Europe, where the plague crawls in the shadows and no one seems safe. It's a story about pain, love, and everything we lose along the way. The gameplay blends stealth with action, but nothing happens without consequence. You must think carefully before acting, use the environment to your advantage, and improvise with the tools you have. The character's evolution changes according to your style. If you're more aggressive, Amisha learns to react with more strength. If you're stealthy, she gains more control and precision. Hugo, with his mysterious powers, adds a supernatural layer that turns the game around at many moments. Every encounter requires calm, reading the situation, and courage. The visuals are stunning, with golden fields and ruins that seem to scream ancient stories. The music doesn't try to steal the spotlight. It enters at the right moments, just to remind you that things can still get worse. The sound of rats running, leaves rustling, and quick breaths. Everything is designed to place you inside the character's skin. It's a game that doesn't shout, but whispers with power. And before you know it, you won't leave that world, even knowing how much it hurts. Some revolutions are made with gunpowder and words. Others, with sharp gears and bodies of metal. Steelrising places you in a reimagined Paris, overtaken by murderous automatons controlled by a mad king. In the middle of this, you play as a mechanical warrior with a clear mission: protect the people and uncover what led everything to collapse. The result is a dark tale of oppression, secrets, and choices that cost more than they seem. Combat follows the familiar style of demanding game's rhythm, reading attacks, and precise execution. You can switch between integrated weapons, alternating between quick, heavy, or ranged attacks, creating your own fighting style. The enemies aren't just tough, they're varied and unpredictable, forcing you to adapt to each new scenario. Progression is flexible, allowing you to shape abilities based on your playstyle. Every victory feels hard-earned, and that's what makes it worth it. The setting blends the classic with the absurd, creating a Paris that seems to have come out of a distorted dream. Adorned palaces share space with cruel machines, and every street seems to hide something that escaped the official history. The music is timely, tense at the right moments, and silent when danger watches from afar. Every step you take seems to echo in a world on the verge of collapse. It's a game that not only challenges, but also provokes, and doesn't let you relax. After all that frantic action, it's time to slow down and dive into a dense, emotional narrative. Trek to Yomi puts you in the shoes of a young samurai who, after a personal tragedy, embarks on a journey to fulfill a promise made to his master. Set in feudal Japan, the game is a tribute to classic samurai films, with a black and white aesthetic reminiscent of Akira Kurosawa cinema. The story is told in a cinematic way, with dialogues in Japanese and a soundtrack that reinforces the atmosphere. It's an experience that blends honor, sacrifice, and redemption. The gameplay focuses on 2D sword combat, where timing and precision are key. You can perform light and heavy attacks, as well as blocks and counterattacks. The game also offers moments of exploration, where you can find items that increase your health and stamina. Despite its simplicity, the combat system is effective and satisfying. The difficulty is adjustable, allowing players of different levels to enjoy the journey. The environments are detailed and varied, ranging from burning villages to dark forests and ancient temples. The fixed camera angles contribute to the cinematic atmosphere, creating moments of great visual impact. The soundtrack uses traditional Japanese instruments to enhance the setting. Trek to Yomi is a work that, despite its limitations, offers a unique and memorable experience for fans of samurai stories. Next, we have Sifu. That puts you in the shoes of a young kung fu practitioner seeking revenge for the death of his father, a martial arts master. The journey is marked by intense confrontations and a unique aging system. Every time you die, you return older, gaining strength, but losing vitality. This mechanic adds a strategic layer to the game, where every decision can be crucial. The story unfolds in a contemporary city, blending realistic and supernatural elements. It's a tale that explores themes of revenge, discipline, and the price of self-improvement. The gameplay centers on hand-to-hand combat, with over 150 moves based on the pack, made kung fu style. You can chain attacks, perform precise dodges and blocks, and use the environment to your advantage, such as throwing objects or pushing enemies into walls. The combat system requires timing and precision, rewarding players who master the mechanics. Each enemy has unique patterns, requiring constant adaptation. You can unlock permanent abilities, allowing your character to evolve even after failures. The environments are varied, from urban alleys to ancient temples, all with details that enrich the setting. The soundtrack blends traditional Chinese sounds with modern beats, enhancing immersion. The sound design emphasizes every blow and movement, making the combat feel even more impactful. Sifu is a work that combines an engaging narrative, challenging gameplay, and striking artistry. It's a journey that tests not only your skills, but also your perseverance. Of all the strange worlds that have appeared in games, few are as disturbing as the one in GRIME. You awaken as something that shouldn't exist, in a universe that seems sculpted by chaos and broken symmetry. Nothing is explained clearly. You move forward guided by discomfort, curiosity, and feelings that don't quite fit. The story comes in fragments, delivered through symbols, sounds, and obscure encounters. It's a game that asks more questions than it answers. The structure blends Metroidvania with the challenge of Souls-like games, offering tense combat and careful exploration. You absorb enemies to gain strength, recover health, or unlock unique abilities. Each new area connects organically with others, creating a dense world full of hidden paths. Battles require patience, reflexes, and pattern reading. Mistakes are costly, but learning to succeed turns every fight into a real reward. The environment impresses by being both ugly and beautiful at the same time, grotesque, yet hypnotic. The colors are dark, the outlines harsh, yet everything feels alive, as if it breathes along with the danger. The music enters subtly but carries weight, helping to build a tense and strange atmosphere. The sounds of the world, the enemies, the impacts, everything reinforces the discomfort. It's the kind of game you feel in your gut before you understand with your mind. In the first few minutes, you can already tell this isn't just another mythological tale with a hero's cape. Immortals' Fenyx Rising begins with gods in crisis, monsters on the loose, and a character no one expected as the savior. But that's what makes it fun. Everything is told with lightness, humor, and a touch of irony, turning even the most serious legends into well-placed jokes. Each region has its own mythological drama and unique challenges, and you'll need more than brute strength to handle them. The game plays with the epic and the absurd in a way that's addictive. The battles are quick, varied, and highly satisfying. You combine physical attacks with powers borrowed from the gods, such as strikes that explode everything around or wings that allow for aerial combat. Between fights, puzzles scattered across the map challenge your logic and observation, always with rewards that are worth the effort. The movement is fluid, fun to control, and gives you total freedom to explore however you wish. No area locks you out. It's up to you to decide the path. The map is vast, alive, and always offers something new: a hidden cave, a chest just out of reach, a statue spouting nonsense. The soundtrack gently accompanies the action, hitting the right notes in tense or comedic moments. Everything is vibrant, full of energy, and designed to keep the pace high. Amidst all of this, you'll find yourself laughing, thinking, and facing bosses worthy of classic odysseys. It's a game that makes mythology feel more fun than ever. If the first one already messed with your mind, this one takes everything to an even stranger level. Axiom Verge 2 puts you in control of Indra, a tough executive who ends up trapped in a parallel world full of alien machines and distorted secrets. Nothing is as it seems. Technology feels like magic, creatures are almost alive, and the only certainty is that something is deeply wrong behind it all. The narrative unfolds in pieces, forcing you to put the puzzle together on your own. And every new area discovered only makes everything more bizarre. The gameplay focuses less on direct combat and more on exploration and intelligence. You can avoid most fights, use a drone to reach inaccessible areas, and even hack enemies to turn the tables. The sense of freedom is real. You choose how to proceed, what to face, and what to ignore. There are creative puzzles, alternate paths, and two interconnected worlds to explore in parallel. Switching between dimensions becomes part of the reasoning, and knowing when to do that changes everything. The style is minimalist, but full of quirky details that make the atmosphere unsettling. Metallic sounds, digital noises, and a pulsating soundtrack create an environment that feels alive or sick. There's no exaggeration, just constant tension. Every corner seems to hide a code, a glitch, a threat. And in the middle of all this, you'll keep asking yourself, are you still in control? Or are you just following orders you don't understand? This game doesn't give you easy answers, and that's what hooks you. In Ender Lily's Quietus of the Nights, you play as Lily, a young priestess who awakens in a world devastated by cursed rain that turns living beings into corrupted creatures. With no memory of what happened, she embarks on a journey to purify the lost souls and uncover the origin of the calamity. Accompanied by the spirits of fallen knights, Lily faces challenges in a dark, melancholic kingdom where every step reveals more about the tragedy that ravaged Land's End. The gameplay combines action and exploration in a Metroidvania style. Lily doesn't fight directly. Instead, she summons spirits that execute varied attacks, from quick sword strikes to powerful charges. You can equip different spirits and switch between them to create unique combos and strategies. By defeating enemies and bosses, new spirits are acquired, expanding combat possibilities. There are also relics that enhance abilities and stats, allowing for further gameplay customization. The world is interconnected, with areas unlocking as new abilities are obtained. The soundtrack features soft, melancholic melodies, complementing the game's atmosphere. Sound effects highlight each action, from the spirit's attacks to ambient noises. Ender Lilies offers an immersive experience for fans of challenging games with unique atmospheres. It's an emotional journey combining action, exploration, and a touching narrative. What if the last thing you saw before dying was a strange portal opening in the sky? Souldiers begins right there, with a group of soldiers being pulled into an unknown world after falling into an ambush. Instead of an end, it's a new beginning, in a realm filled with magic, bizarre creatures, and a never-ending war. From there, you choose between warrior, archer, or mage, each with a unique combat and progression style. It's an action RPG with retro soul and old-school challenges. The gameplay blends Metroidvania exploration with intense, technical battles. Enemies aren't just obstacles. They have patterns, openings, and punish any carelessness. You gain new abilities that unlock previously inaccessible paths in a world full of secrets, shortcuts, and hidden routes. Each class plays differently, making replay a necessity to see everything. And don't expect any hand-holding. You'll need to think, attack at the right time, and always be ready to adapt your strategy. The pixel art is vibrant, with detailed regions full of identity. From dark caves to mystical fortresses, each area feels alive. The soundtrack sets the tone with tension and adventure, while sound effects complete the immersion with impact. It's a game that doesn't hold your hand, but also doesn't let go easily. Once you're hooked, it's hard to put down, and when it ends, you'll want to come back with a new class to see what you missed. Moving from magical realms to the absolute void of space, the next mission isn't about fighting, but surviving with the oxygen running out. Deliver Us the Moon puts you in the shoes of humanity's last hope, a lone astronaut sent to uncover why the energy transmission from the moon suddenly stopped. Earth is collapsing, resources are gone, and your mission is to fix what no one else dared to face. But when you arrive, everything is empty, and that silence is heavy. Here, fear doesn't come from monsters, but from what you don't know is still functioning. The gameplay alternates between tense exploration and puzzles that require attention and logic. You need to control panels, reactivate systems, navigate zero-gravity areas, and deal with the constant risk of drifting in space. There's no combat. The challenge is figuring out what happened before something fails. Each area has clues left by former crew members' recordings, messages, bits of routines that tell a slow, inevitable, sad story. It's just you, a ghost station, and the responsibility of saving everyone back on Earth. The visuals are clean, cold, and beautifully solitary. Every corner of the lunar station feels frozen in time, and the soundtrack enters softly, just to remind you that even without sound, space speaks. The feeling of isolation is constant, but never empty. Everything is placed with purpose. You feel the weight of the mission, not because the game shouts, but because the silence says everything. And in the end, the question isn't just whether you'll succeed, but whether it's still worth trying. So, Which of these games have you had the chance to play? Did any spark your curiosity that you'd add to your list of upcoming games? We'd love to hear which one caught your attention the most. Share your thoughts in the comments. If you can, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow and never be unsure about what to play again. I've left 2 videos in the card, one I picked for you and another one YouTube selected. Just click on either to watch. Big hug, enjoy the game, and see you tomorrow.